Lovely. I'm also very excited because I figured out today how to tilt my iPad so that you can actually see my head in certain poses. So this is fun. So lovely. Thanks everyone for joining. It's lovely to have you here. And as usual, we're going to start in a seated position today. So any comfortable position for you, whether that is cross-legged in this Sukhasana, so easy pose. You can take your legs out nice and wide or in front of you, or even sit on a chair for this first bit. Because we're going to take a few minutes just to really kind of center, bring ourselves to our mat, bring our attention and our awareness and start to let go of the super busy day that we've all had, all the running around we've been doing, the long to-do lists. So taking a few moments to start observing the breath. So not necessarily trying to change it, just seeing where your breath is today. Noticing the depth and the quality, the speed of the breath. I think the breath tells us a lot about our kind of well-being and our state of mind, state of being. So it's a good skill to be able to take some moments throughout the day to kind of check in with where we are. Noticing if there's any parts of the body that we need to look after or be mindful of today. And setting an intention for our practice today. How do we want to practice? How do we want to move into our evening? What energy do we want to bring? So today's session, we are going to be looking a little bit at transitions. So we often are really good at kind of focusing and being really aware when we're in asana, when we're within certain poses. But we're going to try and focus today on those bits in between. So sometimes we might do like a flow, and then I think then we're okay at kind of watching how we're moving and the quality of our movement. But even just kind of between poses, I think it can be really nice to kind of bring some loving awareness to kind of how we're moving. So we're going to be looking a little bit at transitions. As always, everything I offer is just an invitation. So if you don't fancy it today, if you're just like, no, absolutely not, that is not happening for me, then please do what you want to do. Take a rest, take a break, change it up. Nothing will make me happier than seeing you do your own thing on the screen. So look after yourselves today. So before we get moving, we're going to start with a short pranayama exercise, so a bit of breath work. So I'm going to come a little bit closer to the screen. We did do this very briefly in a class last week, but we didn't have a lot of time. So I want us to spend a good 2 or 3 minutes doing it today. So what we're going to do, if you take your hand in front of you, we're going to close the 3 fingers inwards. So we've got our thumb and our pinky finger stood out. And the exercise we're going to do is called Nadi Shodhana, or alternate nostril breathing. So we're just going to start by taking our thumb to the right nostril. If that's the hand you're in, sorry, I've got my right hand, so I'm taking my right thumb to my right nostril. If you're on your left, do the opposite. So we're not kind of squeezing or really blocking it, but we're just placing our thumb on that nostril just to kind of stop the airflow coming up. And once our thumb is there, we're going to inhale through the opposite nostril. So inhaling in. And then we're going to cross those fingers over. So placing the pinky finger on the left nostril and breathe out through the right nostril. Once we've done that cycle, we're going to do the same thing. So we're not going to move the fingers on the other side. So we'll inhale through the right nostril. Cross those over. Exhale through the left. And we're going to repeat that for a few cycles, so doing that with your own speed. You can close the eyes if you'd like to. That can really help you kind of draw inwards and start to bring our awareness to our breath and our body. But if done for kind of a couple minutes, this can be a really good breath to kind of help calm the nervous system. Especially if you're kind of feeling anxious, it's very good at kind of tackling that fight or flight response. So I'm going to go nice and quiet so we can do this just for a minute or so. drawing inwards. Maybe as you exhale, kind of dropping the shoulders, letting the legs hang nice and heavy. Noticing the breath following as it travels from your belly through the rib cage and the chest up through your nose. Doing one more cycle on each side. And starting to slowly open the eyes, bringing your hands back down to your knees. Lovely. Inviting in a deep mindful breath. So taking a moment to check in with your alignment. So start trying to sit up nice and tall. So head over heart, heart over pelvis. So if you've got a piece of string coming out the crown of your head, the legs are nice and heavy, and then we're really nice and light from the waist up. And then from here, we're going to inhale, start to lift the left arm up past your ear, overhead, reach, reach, reach. And then exhale, bringing that palm back down to your knee. And then we'll take it on the other side, inhaling, taking the right hand up, reaching up towards the sky, feeling a side stretch. Exhale, bringing that arm back down to your knee. Same thing again, we're going to inhale, this time taking both arms up behind the ears, up and over, reaching up to the sky. So we're reaching out of our seated position. Maybe doing a little kind of monkey movement of seeing if you can reach a little bit further with each hand, one by one, to really start opening up in that side body. Then taking a big inhale in here. Exhale, twisting to the right from the rib cage. We're going to bring our left hand down to our right knee, right hand behind us, find that twist. Lovely, finding that twist through the spine. Maybe when you exhale, seeing if you can twist that a little bit deeper. Giving a nice little massage to the internal organs. Wringing out anything that we need to let go of today, anything that we're keeping pent up, that we can forget about for the next 50 minutes while we're in our yoga practice. And we'll inhale, coming back to center, reaching the arms back up again. This time, exhale, taking it over to the right this time. So bringing your right hand over to your left knee. Sorry, over to the left, messed that up, didn't I? Other hand coming behind us. Using your nose to follow that twist, so taking your gaze over the back shoulder. So we're really rotating through the whole spine. Taking nice, deep, mindful breaths into the belly. Seeing if you can squeeze that a little bit deeper with the exhale. And then we'll inhale, coming back to center. Lovely. Then from here, we're going to drop our head over towards our right shoulder. So we start to feel a lovely kind of opening and stretch through that big muscle that runs down from your ear to your shoulder on the left side. Okay, maybe you might want to take your right hand, kind of place it on your head. It's not yanking, just giving it a little bit of kind of weight. Kind of really breathing into that stretch. You can take your hand out beside you as well, kind of bending at the wrist. That can feel quite nice. If that doesn't add anything to you, then don't worry about doing it. But if it feels good, stick with it. And then we'll exhale, swapping those arms over, so taking the head towards the left shoulder this time, using that hand as a bit of support. Opening up in that muscles of the neck. Coming back to center. And then following the nose, nice and simple, we're just going to start to take the gaze in each direction. So we're going to inhale, take the gaze up towards the sky, open out through the front of the throat. Exhale, bringing the chin down towards us. Feel that stretch in the back of the neck. Inhale, coming back to center. Exhale, taking your nose over to the right. Inhale, coming back to center. And then exhale, taking it over to the other side. Feeling nice stretch through the side of the neck. And coming back to center. Lovely. Now we're going to place our left hand just by our thigh, so nicely on the earth, and then inhale, start to reach through those right fingertips, bring them up and overhead, coming into your side stretch. Really focusing on the up movement before we come over, so we're not kind of crunching ourselves into this really kind of tight position, keeping it nice and light, nice and open. Maybe wiggling the fingertips as you reach the top. Drawing that stretch in the outer side body. You can keep the little pulses if that feels nice, or you can hold it here, kind of continuing that reach to one nice long piece. Lovely. Continuing to breathe. And then the exhale, going to cartwheel the arms over, so bringing that right arm down towards the mat, taking the left arm up and over. Taking a side stretch on the other side, wiggling the fingers. Maybe rolling the wrist. Taking your gaze to your bottom hand or to your top elbow, whichever feels comfortable for you, but keeping it really nicely focused there. Lovely. And then we'll exhale, bringing the arm back around, really reaching as we go so we can enjoy that movement of taking up lots of space. Lovely. And then from here, we're going to have a little check-in with the hamstrings. So we're going to send our legs out long in front of us, coming to our Dandasana or staff pose. So sitting up nice and tall, nice and straight, keeping the back nice and long. If you find that's quite difficult, if you find when your legs are straight on the floor, you kind of start to hunch over, then I would encourage you to lift your knees a little bit, find a bit of space in the knees, because we want to try and keep that straight back here. So if the legs are preventing you having the flat back, then bend the knees a little bit. But find that position that feels comfortable for you, maybe bringing your fingertips to the ground to find that bit of support. And taking some deep mindful breaths here. So this Dandasana or staff pose, it doesn't look like we're doing a lot, but I don't know about you guys, maybe it's just me, but this definitely feels like quite a lot in my body. There's quite a lot going on in terms of your iliopsoas, keeping you sat upright, and the muscles of the spine keeping you straight, and the hamstrings and calves getting a bit of a stretch as well. Breathing into the legs, breathing into the back body. Pushing out through those heels. Staying nice and tall. And then when you're ready, we're going to cross the ankles over and come all the way over, sending the palms forward to find our tabletop position. Lovely. So setting up really kind of nice and strongly the tabletop, so your knees under your hips, your wrists under your shoulder joints, and really start to spread the fingertips and push away from your mat, so feeling that upward current of energy. Feeling the kind of contact points with the floor, so pushing away from your shins. Super. So really kind of starting to switch on through the core, switch on through the legs, pushing up and out away with the shoulder blades. Super. So again, it's another pose. It doesn't feel like we're doing doesn't look like we're doing a lot, but you kind of feel the kind of effects of kind of gravity in different ways in your body. And then from here, we're going to inhale, tuck the toes under. Exhale, start to lift the knees off the floor. Super. So we're not coming too high, maybe an inch or so. Pushing away through our hands as well, so we're nice and strong, feeling the muscles in the arms and the legs start to switch on and shake. And we'll exhale, drop your knees back to the floor. Lovely. Then from here, we're going to bring the toes together. Take the knees out a little bit wider, so towards the edges of your mat. And we're going to take some circles. So we're going to inhale, start to kind of rock forward on our wrists. And then swing around to the left side, so coming all the way around, back to our child's pose. Super, and then exhale, completing the circle, coming around to the right, coming forward with the breath. And just repeating those, checking in with child's pose each time, bringing the hips to the ankle, and then swaying around in a nice movement. Moving with the rhythm of your breath. So maybe you kind of inhale for half a circle and exhale for the others. Maybe you can do a whole circle on an inhale and a whole circle on an exhale. Whatever kind of feels good for you. And really feeling into each of the edges, so each of the corners of your circle, as it were. I know circles don't have corners, but you know what I mean. Kind of feeling through the side body, through the muscles of the inner thighs, so our adductors. And then when you're ready, taking it back the other way. Coming forward that little bit as we reach the front. Checking in with child's pose. Lovely, you all look really nice. And when you're ready, coming back to center and bringing the knees back to that kind of parallel position, so back to our tabletop. So pushing away through the hands, finding our nice flat back again, finding our tabletop, and then we'll tuck the toes under. Inhale, lift the knees for another hovering cat. Build that prana, find that energy, that shake that tells us that we are alive, we are safe, we are well. And then exhaling, bringing the knees back to the mat, dropping the belly, find your cow pose, taking the gaze up in front of you, pushing that chest through your shoulder blades so the elbows turn in slightly. And then exhaling, pushing up to your cat, pushing through the shoulder blades, stretching the skin of the back body. Pushing away from the mat with your hands and your shins. And then inhale back through to your cow. Taking that movement with your own speed, your own rhythm. Finding what feels nice and good for you. Adding on any movements that you want to add on, maybe dipping the hips to the side, or maybe you like split circles, you want to do a couple of them. And then when you're ready, back in our tabletop position, so curling the toes under. We're going to do a similar move to the hovering cat again, but we're going to bring the knees up, and then this time take our hips all the way back to our ankles before we push up through the legs, and bring your hips, your bum up to the sky for your downward dog. Lovely. Taking a minute to kind of pedal through the legs, start opening up the hamstrings. Pushing away from your mat with your hands. You're kind of bringing your spine back between your shoulder blades. So we're really, same as when we're in Dandasana, we're focusing on having a flat back rather than straight legs. So don't worry if your heels don't come to the floor. Don't worry if you want to have a bit of a bend in your knees. If that keeps your back nice and straight, then that's great. You're in downward dog, you're doing it. And then when you're ready, finding some stillness. Super. And then we're going to inhale, take some nice slow steps to start up to the front of your mat. So crossing one leg over the other. Really taking your time and enjoying it, not rushing it. Opening up through the legs. And then we'll Inhale, start to unfurl, uncurl, back up to standing. Super. So we're going to be going back into downward dog, but this is, if anybody has a wall, I want us to try and do it on a wall just for a few moments, just so we can kind of notice the sensations and how it feels different when you kind of change your perspective and your gravity. So if you've got a wall nearby or a door or something you can lean against, all I want us to do is same as when we're in downward dog, we're going to spread the fingertips nice and wide, parallel in front of us, and then just start to bend at the hips until you find that really nice straight back, pushing away from your wall, from your door, wherever you are with your hands. If you don't have a wall, you can always kind of use a chair or the back of a sofa or something if that's available to you, or a table, anything where you can kind of find that 90-degree, almost right angle position. Lovely. And the reason I'm bringing us here is because I want us to kind of feel that sensation of where the spine should be in relation to the shoulders. We're really kind of dropping the spine down, kind of turning those elbows inwards as we push away from the wall. And obviously this is all quite a lot more challenging when we're in downward dog and we're on the mat and we've got other kind of forces working against us. It takes a lot more kind of core stability, so this is a nice way to just kind of check in with how the shoulders should feel when we're in downward dog. Maybe notice kind of the biceps and the triceps switch on slightly. And taking a couple breaths here, so either with your gaze on your feet on the floor or maybe with the eyes closed. And come have a quick peek at you all. Focusing on the breath. Nice. And then when you're ready, we'll inhale, going back to standing. Shaking off if you need to. And then we're going to make our way back down to downward dog on the mat this time. So whatever way you'd like to, maybe you want to take a little kind of vinyasa, reaching upwards before we fold down. Placing our hands on the floor. And then stepping back to downward dog, sending the hips up nice and tall. Seeing how this feels in comparison to on the wall. Oh, lovely little vinyasa there, Brittany. Very nice, guys. Super. So from here, we're going to look at our three-legged dog and the transition we sometimes take to our lunge. So what I want us to do is inhale in, start to lift the right heel up towards the sky, find your three-legged dog. Beautiful. Now this is a cue I say quite a lot. We don't take a lot of time to kind of focus on it. So from here, I want you to look through your legs at your hips and check that they're in line. See if they're kind of in line and parallel, or if one is starting to kind of open up and drift out. So pushing through that back heel, looking at your hips, making sure they're nice and level. Lovely. And yeah, you all look really good. Then we're going to inhale, start to bend at the knee. Bring that knee up towards our nose, pushing away from the mat. So pushing through the shoulder blades nice and strong. And then we'll exhale, taking the ankle back out, pushing out through the heel, finding our three-legged dog. And if we're finding that we're starting to open out through the hips, then just bring that foot a little bit lower in line. We're not trying to get it, vertical up to the sky or anything like that. So we're going to do that again. So inhaling in, bending at the knee, bringing that knee forward towards your nose. Remembering we are strong. And then exhale, taking it back out to three-legged dog. And we're just going to do that a couple of times, moving with the breath. If you need to put the foot down, take a little rest, please do. I'm going to come have a look at us all, but just continuing that breath with the movement. Really focusing on the sensations of when the hips are parallel, noticing how it feels different when it starts to open out. Really good, guys. Pushing away from the mat with the hands. And then next time we're back in three-legged dog, bringing the foot back down to our downward dog, bringing the knees down to the earth, and sending the hips back, maybe kind of painting a line with your hand down the mat, bringing it back to your child's pose, taking a little rest here. Lovely, guys. Really good. Taking a moment to take some of the pressure out of the wrists, maybe taking some wrist rolls, if that was quite a lot of work on the wrists there. And when you're ready, we're going to push up to downward dog and take that on the other side. So rocking forward, curling the toes. And again, trying to kind of lift the knees and send the hips back to the ankles before we push up through the legs. And that just helps us find that kind of straighter back, a nice long line from the wrists up to the hips. Really nice. So then we're going to take it on the other side. So apologies in my usual fashion. I forgot what side we just did. So on the other side to what you just did, I think it might be the left this side. We're going to take the foot back, find your three-legged dog. And again, take a moment to physically look at your hips and see how they look. Do they look level and in line? Or does one look like it's starting to open out and dart off somewhere else? So from here, three-legged dog, we're going to inhale, bring that knee in towards the nose, rocking ourselves forward, pushing away from the mat. Exhale, taking it back out behind us. Inhale, rocking in again. Feeling nice and strong, feeling that little bit of a shake. Exhale, pushing back out. And taking that a couple times at your speed. The rhythm with your breath. Really nice, guys. Really good hip positions, nice and level. Lovely. And then next time we've got our knee to our nose, we're going to take a nice big step, take the foot between the hands. If you need to give it a bit of welly, a bit of momentum, give it a bit of a shove with your hand or move it along. That's all good too. Lovely. So once we're in this low lunge, we're going to drop that back knee, adding any padding or anything if we need to, so maybe folding up the mat or popping something underneath. And then we'll inhale nice and light on the fingertips, bring the fingers up. Start to stretch through that back hip, keeping the knee nice and stacked over the ankle. Reaching up to the sky, maybe taking the gaze to your fingertips. And then we'll exhale, bring the hands around that front foot, wrapping it around, and then bring that knee back, so straighten through the front leg. Point the toes towards your face, find your runner's lunge. Lovely. And we'll do that movement again, so exhaling, bringing the knee forward, taking the arms up, Anjaneyasana. And then inhaling, bring the hands down, taking it back, runner's lunge, toes towards your head, your face. Lovely. And then we're going to rock back forward to our lunge. I'm actually going to swap over so that I can demonstrate this a bit more clearly. And then what we're going to do from here, we're going to take the back toes out towards the back of your mat. So sorry, if that is your left toe, it's going to the right side of your mat. If it's your right toes at the back, they're going to your left. Lovely. So we've got this kind of 90-degree angle from the front foot and the back leg. And then we're going to cartwheel the arms around. So almost as if you've got a paintbrush in your outside hand, we're going to take it forward before we come all the way around, lifting off. And we're going to take it all the way back down to the earth. So if we need a little block or a table or something here, or we can always just take it on the hip if the earth feels a little bit far away. You guys will look like you got this, you're smashing this. So reaching up through that hand, feeling that stretch, pushing through your front foot. And then maybe we start to walk that front leg out and kind of straighten it. turning the ankles towards the long edge if that feels more secure for you. So you've got the options of where you want your toes placed. And then reaching through that top hand, we're going to inhale, start to bring that arm down as if you're strumming a guitar. And take some nice shoulder circles. Maybe nice is the wrong word in case you actually really hate them. I'll be more neutral. We're going to take some shoulder circles. Keep our nice mindful breath. Maybe tapping into our Ujjayi breath. And then next time your top hand is down towards the mat, when we rotate it up, we're going to use that momentum to bring ourselves up to our gate pose. Very nice. So reaching out through the hands here, taking a moment to check in with the side body, the front and the back body, so lifting up nice and tall. So it's almost kind of like a variation of warrior two. Super. Holding ourselves here. And then we're going to inhale, we're going to start to drop our bum towards the mat behind us. So almost using our arms as a bit of a support, we're just going to bring our bum to the mat. You can come down with a little bit of a thud if that feels all right for you. Lovely. And then if your foot is kind of tucked under the leg that's stretched out, we're just going to bring it out a little bit so that your foot is nicely in contact with your thigh. Lovely. So in this kind of seated position. And then from here, we're going to inhale, taking the arms up so we find this nice length in the back, this kind of slight tilt of the pelvis. And then exhale, turning your head and your heart towards the toes. We're going to start to take the chest towards the toes, keeping our back nice and straight. So we're not kind of curling over. So we don't need to get the full weight to our toes. We're just using that kind of energy of kind of sending our attention to the toes and using that to bring our chest and our front towards that foot. So Janu Sushasana, or head to knee pose. So breathing into the slight fold, breathing into the muscles at the bottom of the leg. And kind of taking your focus, taking your drishti to those toes. And seeing if you can use that focus and attention to, when you exhale, bring yourself that little bit closer towards your knee. Not worrying how close we get. Being really compassionate and kind to ourselves. Nice deep breaths here as we stretch through the bottom of the legs. Yeah, really nice, guys. Using those hands as support. Super. And then when you're ready, kind of rolling upwards, taking that tension off of that front leg. Taking a little sip of water if you need a drink or anything while we're here. And then when you're ready in your own time, we'll cross that leg, bring that leg back in so we can cross the ankles and send our hands over to push back up to our downward dog. So there's absolutely no rush. Take a drink if you need to. You can kind of skip this vinyasa a bit until we're in the pose if you prefer. Lovely. So taking this all on the other side, so I think this time we're taking the right leg up towards the sky, pushing out through that back heel, finding your nice level three-legged dog. And then inhale, bending at the knee, bringing that knee forward and dropping the foot between our two front hands. Lovely. Dropping that back knee, giving any padding if you need to. And then we'll inhale, taking the fingertips all the way back for Anjaneyasana. Super. Bending into that front knee, taking the gaze up to your fingertip, reaching up to the sky. And then we'll exhale, bringing the palms around that front foot. Start to unfold in that knee, bringing the toes up towards you for your runner's lunge. Really nice. Couple breaths here. And then similar movements again. So we'll inhale, start to rock forward. Exhale, take the fingertips, reach them up, Anjaneyasana. Kind of pushing away from the earth, lifting through the side body. And then exhale, bringing the hands around that front foot and bending the knee for that runner's lunge. Taking your attention to your toes. Lovely. And then when you're ready, coming back forward. We're going to take that movement on the other side again. So I'm going to swap around so I can keep watching you. So sending the back toes towards the edge of your mat. So we're in this kind of 90-degree position. And then we'll inhale, taking that back arm, letting that arm pull us up and all the way over to the other side of your mat. Lovely. It's kind of gate variation. And once you're here and once you're stable, kind of pushing away from the ground with that bottom hand, you can walk the toes out to kind of straighten that front leg, keeping the toes either facing the short edge of the mat or the long edge. So nice and sturdy, nice and strong, reaching out. And then we're going to take that movement with the arm again as if we're strumming that guitar. So inhaling, bringing that arm all the way around, opening out through that circle. Really nice. And then when you're ready, you're using that momentum, and next time the arm kind of sweeps around, let it bring you up to that warrior two gate variation. So everything is reaching out nice and wide. Really good. So being nice and proud through the chest shining forward. And then we're going to inhale, start to twist the pelvis so that we can drop our bum back towards our mat. And set up for Janu Sirsasana, so bringing that foot out that might be underneath your leg, bringing it into the thigh. And again, taking that moment to find your sit bones. Sometimes you've got to pull the fleshy parts away from your bum so you can feel your bones nice and securely on the earth. And then inhale, taking the arms up, turning ourselves so our rib cage and our chest towards that foot before we exhale and start to bring ourselves, to bring our kind of gaze, our chest towards that foot at the front. Lovely, pointing the toes, using the hands as support. If we're sat up here, that's absolutely okay. Just going kind of as far as comfortable for you today. As far as you can go while keeping that nice straight back. Breathing into the fold, breathing into the stretch. Quite an intense stretch on those hamstrings. Really nice, guys. Lovely. And then when you're ready, walking the hands back up towards us to release some of that tension. Maybe taking the opposite leg out, giving them a little bit of a shake. And then however you want to, we're going to make our way to standing. So maybe kind of crossing the ankle, pushing ourselves up. We're going to take a little step to the front edge of our mat. Lovely. So taking a moment to check in with our mountain pose or Tadasana. So feet are nicely kind of hips distance apart, pushing into the ground through all four corners of the feet. So spreading the toes, maybe kind of lifting them off the mat and popping them down so we've got a really secure base. As we push up through the feet, again, imagining there's that piece of string, lifting the crown of the head up, shining the chest forward, palms face forward, taking a breath here. Dropping the shoulders, releasing any tension. And then without overthinking it too much, we're going to inhale, take our right foot and take it back down the mat behind us, bringing ourselves into a high lunge. Lovely. Wasn't that scary, stepping back behind us, but we all did it. Lovely. Then from there, we're going to drop the heel, the back heel, that is, so that the back toes are almost on a diagonal. So we're setting up in our warrior one legs. Super. So we'll start bending through that front knee. I'm going to twist around so I can keep watching you a bit easier. Lovely. And then taking our hands to our hips, kind of bringing ourselves to face that front knee, face forwards. Lovely. Feeling into the legs, pushing away from the ground. And then we're going to inhale, take the arms up in front of us, all the way up, reaching back. And then exhale, as if there's a wall in front of you that you're facing. We're going to bring our hands down in front of us, bringing them back down in line. Lovely. And then we'll inhale, taking those arms back up again. And just continue that movement with your own breath, really making the most of it. So kind of pushing through the wrists and the fingers as we come down. And then reaching down to come up, just reaching through the fingertips, kind of taking up space. If this is a bit much on the legs, you can always come off that front knee slightly. I might just make it a little bit less intense. Lovely. Using the breath to move your arms out of the ribcage, out of your torso. And this time, when you get to the top, we're going to bring our front back towards me, I guess, towards the camera. Bring that heel in ever so slightly, so we've got our warrior two legs. And then this time, exhaling, bringing the arms out into our warrior two. Lovely. So again, imagining that we've got these two swords, so it's really fierce, kind of reaching out through the arms, taking your gaze over your front fingertips. And then same movement again, we're going to inhale, bring the arms up. Exhale, reaching the arms nice and wide. Reaching out for warrior two. Continuing that flow with your breath. Taking up lots of space, folding into that front knee. If you like, as you inhale and bring the arms up, you can always straighten that front leg. Before we exhale, fold into the leg, bring the arms down, take that gaze over. And it almost becomes a little bit of a dance. Nice kind of graceful movement. Gracefully and grandly, finding our fierce warriors. And then what I want us to do this time, without moving the feet, is that we're going to inhale, turn our chest, turn our torso back to warrior one. Lovely. And then taking that arm again, that movement again, so bringing the arms up. Sorry, down even, that was bad. Inhaling, bringing them up, and then exhaling, turning out to our warrior two. Lovely. Inhaling, warrior one, bending into that front knee. Exhaling, out to warrior two, out to the side, lovely. Inhaling, warrior one, taking the pelvis forward. Exhale, warrior two. Really nice, guys. Then from here, we're going to take our hands to our hips, straighten through that front knee, turn those feet inwards, and then jump the feet together and just shake off through the legs. Well done, guys. That was pretty strong. And obviously, we'll need to take it on to the other side. So once you've shaken off the legs, we're going to come back to the front edge of our mat, finding that Tadasana again. And similar movement again. So I think we're taking the left leg back this time. Sorry if that's wrong. We're going to inhale, take that left leg down the mat, find your lunge. Whew, it's that little moment where you're like, am I going to fall over? Lovely. And then taking those toes out on a slight diagonal, so you've got our warrior one leg set up, bending through that front knee. We'll inhale, bring the arms up to warrior one. And then just a few times we'll exhale as if you're painting that wall in front of you, bringing your arms down. Inhaling, taking them back up, enjoying the movement. So this feels a bit like, you know, when people do Tai Chi in the park. I know nothing about Tai Chi, so that could be very, very wrong. This is where it reminds me of anyway. Inhaling, reaching out, reaching up. Exhaling, painting the wall in front of you, bringing the hands down. Bending into that front knee, nice strong legs. Pelvis is nice and straight like it was in our three-legged dog. And then this time when you're ready, we'll exhale, open out towards the front, bring our arms to warrior two. Lovely. A lovely little transition, guys. Inhaling, bringing the arms back up. Exhaling, folding into a warrior two. Taking the gaze over your fingertips. Inhaling, reaching up. Exhaling, opening out. Beautiful. Inhaling, coming up. Maybe this time we turn the pelvis again, come back into our warrior one. Super. So we can exhale, open out to warrior two. Inhale, coming to warrior one. Exhaling, reaching to warrior two. You got this, guys. Inhaling, warrior one. Pushing through the legs, letting the muscles of the legs cling to the bone. Exhaling, warrior two. And then one more time, reaching up for warrior one. Exhaling, coming out to our warrior two, looking past those front fingertips. Pushing away from the mat with the feet. And then we'll exhale, releasing those arms, giving them a shake off. Turning that front foot in, and we'll take that jump again, so jumping the legs in, giving it all a lovely shake. Well done, guys, really nicely done. Oh, super, and you might be pleased to know we're going to make our way back towards our mat. So coming down where the way is comfortable for you, bringing ourselves down, taking a drink if we haven't had one yet. Lovely, and we're not going to be here for long, but we're just going to have a little bit of an abdominal check-in. We're doing a lot of work on our legs, so just to even things out, we're going to, with our feet on the floor, knees are facing up to the sky, we inhale, start to reach up through our crowns to keep them a nice flat back we've been working on throughout today's practice. Taking a breath here. If this is already switching on your abdominals and you're good here, that's great. Or if you'd like to, we're going to inhale, bring the toes, bring the shins up towards the sky for our boat pose. So keeping the chest nice and proud, nice and tall. We can hold the backs of our thighs if that helps us find a little bit of lift. Or if you're feeling like a bit of a challenge today, you can take the arms out in front of you. We're just going to hold it here for a couple breaths. So squeezing those legs together, pointing through those toes, shining that chest upwards. And we're going to inhale, straighten out through the left leg. Exhale back to center. Inhale, straighten out through the right leg. Exhale back to center. Inhale, straighten both those toes out, straighten the legs, reaching towards the sky. Exhale, hugging it all back in. Lovely. Bringing ourselves back to seated. Super. Well done, guys. That was nice. And what we're going to do from here, so I'm going to start with the left leg. We're going to take that leg in front of us. The shin is kind of straight and parallel with the mat. And then with the right leg, we're going to swing it round to bring our knee to meet that foot. So this is what we call deer legs. So you kind of, if you look down at your legs, it'll be kind of a box position. So you've got one shin in front of you, one coming to the side. So you take a moment to kind of sit up nice and tall here. Maybe you bring one hand to your side where you don't have a leg. one hand in front and kind of use the earth to push away and sit up nice and tall. Couple breaths here. And then you're probably going to be sick of me saying inhale, exhale by the end of the session today, but we're going to inhale, start to lift that knee up towards the sky, kind of opening out like a little gate. And then exhale, bringing that knee back down towards the foot. And just do that 2 or 3 times. We're not going to be here long. So inhaling, lifting up, opening through the hips and the thighs. Exhaling, bringing it back down. Lovely, guys. And keep breathing, keep smiling. And we're going to exhale, bringing the knee back down. And then we're going to twist ourselves slightly. So bringing that right hand over to the left knee this time, taking the opposite hand round the back, finding a bit of a twist. So taking your gaze with you, twisting through the rib cage. And we're going to hold it here for a good minute or so. So this is actually a yin yoga pose, which you're traditionally meant to hold for kind of anywhere between 3 to 8 minutes. We're not going to be here this long, but we are going to try and hold it. The idea is that it really starts to work into the connective tissues in the joints. So kind of your fascia, your tendons, your ligaments. So it's just a nice way to kind of release tension and let go in these areas, even if it feels a little bit tricky. Just breathing into the twist, finding that integrity. And maybe seeing if you can twist that a little bit further into it, see if you can find that little bit more space. If we can't, that's fine. Be kind with ourselves. Maybe we need to release a little bit if actually we think we're not going to be able to hold this for a couple more breaths. And then we'll inhaling, coming back to center. Lovely. And then we're going to switch those legs over. So bringing the right foot in front this time. That nice straight line with the mat. Swinging the other leg around, bringing the knee to meet that foot. And then taking a moment to kind of sit up nice and tall. So maybe that's with one hand in front, one to the side. Finding that kind of lift. And then when you're ready, we're going to take that same kind of opening movement again. So moving with your breath, we're going to bring that knee up, opening out the thigh and the pelvis. Exhaling, bringing the leg back down. Really nice, guys. Just doing that a couple times. I'm going to keep breathing, keep smiling. And then when you're ready, we'll exhale, start to twist away from that leg. So bringing the left hand to the right knee, taking the right hand behind us, sending the chest out to the side, finding that twist. Yeah, perfect. So twisting away from the legs. Breathing into the belly, the internal organs. Maybe using a nice, loud, audible breath. With the exhale, seeing if you can twist that a little bit further. If you've opened up a little bit more space. You look really nice, guys. Shoulders are nice and dropped. And then when you're ready, we'll inhale, starting to twist back to center. This time we're going to bring that left foot to meet our right foot in front of us. Bringing the feet forward slightly, so we've got a bit of a diamond shape. And then holding on to the soles of the feet, so kind of gripping onto our feet, we'll start to bring those legs down, finding our cobbler's pose or butterfly pose. So using that motion of holding the feet to kind of pull ourselves upwards. And then maybe as you exhale, imagining there's kind of a pond or a reflection in front of you that you're kind of peeking into. So we're going to exhale, start to bring ourselves forward. We're not coming the whole way down, we're not kind of folding, but we're just using that kind of current of energy to bring our chest forward. So as if you've got a little reflection in a pond. And focusing on the ground in front of you. We tend to go where the gaze goes, so that's why we're looking ahead so we can bring our chest forward. Taking some nice breaths here. This can be quite nice if you've got cramps, if it's your time of the month, or maybe you've eaten too much. It's going to be quite nice kind of release on the tummy. And we'll exhale, bringing ourselves back up. And then bringing the knees in together, taking the hands behind us, kind of drop through the knees. To release, so kind of counteract some of the movements we've just done. And then if you're anything like me, your bum's probably starting to travel down the mat as the knees move it. Just let it do that so that you can then bring yourself into your final Shavasana, so corpse pose. Sending the legs out nice and long, dropping the arms down at the side. Limbs are nice and heavy. Grabbing anything you need to make this that little bit extra cozy or comfy. So maybe that's a cushion or a bolster for under your knees, cushion for your head, pair of socks, whatever it is, kind of making the time for ourselves. Maybe dropping the chin ever so slightly just so we get that nice stretch in the back of the neck. Bringing your awareness and your attention to the breath. Releasing and dropping in. Integrating our physical practice with our energetic and our emotional body today. Bringing ourselves to be at one with all our different parts of us. Finding those little moments where we can bring our awareness and our attention, and it's not always about kind of waiting for the big thing, the big pose, or the time of day where we think, well, I'm going to be really present and aware. Finding those little moments in between. So when can we find, a minute or so during the day just to focus on the breath for a few moments, to connect with ourselves, be fully present. It doesn't need to be 20 minutes of meditation. It doesn't even need to be, an hour of yoga. Just a minute or so here or there. Maybe while the kettle's boiling, maybe while you're brushing your teeth. Really focusing, concentrating on what we're doing. Using the breath as an anchor. Maybe closing our eyes and watching the little light show on the back of the eyelids. Maybe that's how we focus. And from here, starting to listen to the breath. Feeling Skin of the belly stretch as we inhale. Ribs expand and take up space. And drop with the exhale. Being at one with ourselves. Enjoying these final few moments that we've made for ourselves this evening. Focusing on the breath. And just as soon as you're ready, starting to find a little bit of movement, maybe wiggling the fingers or the toes. Starting to bring some energy back into the body. So we start to push ourselves upwards, so maybe rolling over to one side and coming up, maybe kind of rolling ourselves up to seated. Bringing that nice calming energy that we've just created. Kind of holding it, being present with it. Thanking our minds and our bodies for all the hard work they've just done. And thinking back to that intention we set at the beginning of the practice. So whatever intention we had for the practice in the last hour, how do we take that into our evenings? How do we honor ourselves and use our energy in a way that's conducive to our values and our goals? Inhaling, bringing the palms together, taking them up to the third eye. Final deep breath here, breathing lots of love in. And as we bow, breathing lots of love out. Thank you very much for joining, everybody. Thank you for having me, for letting me broadcast into your homes. It's been lovely to see you all. I know it's feels like a very weird time of year at the moment, a bit like that time between Christmas and New Year, you know, and it's like it should be summer, but the weather's awful and everybody's away. I don't know about you guys, it just feels weird. So I'm very glad you chose to spend that time with me at yoga. But I hope that was okay. I'll be here for a couple of minutes if anybody wants to chat, but if not, hopefully see you at another class in the week. And I'll see you all soon.
Thank you. That was great, apart from the cat dumping a mouse on me halfway through Shavasana. That's why
I thought maybe I was like, I've run over a bit. Maybe she just needs to go. I have no idea.
Never moved so fast in my life. I was like, what on earth is that? No, it's a mouse on my chest.
God, well, you managed to stay pretty calm considering. I thought I just need to go.
Oh, yeah, I'm awake now.
Oh, bless. Well, I'm glad it's gone now.
Have a good evening, guys. I'll see you tomorrow.
Thank you. See you tomorrow.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you. Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. So fake. Isn't it? Bye. I'm going. I'm not.
We're not. We're staying. Oh wait, we're recording.
Oh.
Bye, everybody. Bye. We don't stay on to chat for 20 minutes after. Bye.